Have you heard of MMM, the infamous Russian joint stock company that emerged in the 1990s right after the Soviet collapse? It was the first modern financial pyramid in post-Soviet Russia, promising miraculous returns and collapsing with devastating consequences for millions. If you haven't studied it, you should before you ever consider permanently investing in any form of digital currency. Today, cryptocurrency is sold as freedom, decentralized, autonomous, permissionless, beyond government reach, and immune to traditional financial control. But this narrative is a loss leader, a seductive myth designed to lure idealists, tech enthusiasts, and the financially disillusioned into a system that only pretends to be free. The moment crypto touches the real world, through exchanges, banks, payment processors, custodial wallets, or regulatory gateways, the illusion shatters. These verification nodes are not neutral. They are choke points of control, enforcing KYC, Know Your Customer, AML, anti-money laundering protocols, behavioral scoring, transaction surveillance, wallet blacklisting, asset freezing, transaction reversal at will. In practice, this transforms crypto from a tool of liberation into a fully permissioned financial cage, one meticulously disguised in the language of decentralization. You may hold the keys, but the doors only open when the system says so. Far from escaping the old order, crypto has been seamlessly absorbed into it, reframed, regulated, and weaponized as the next phase of programmable, trackable, and revocable money. The end goal is not autonomy, it is total visibility and total control. Under a centralized crypto regime, the promise of personal financial sovereignty gives way to a system of digital oversight so granular and absolute that every transaction becomes a data point, and every user a profile to be managed. Consider what is already possible and actively being implemented. Access to your own money can be restricted or revoked at the flick of a switch. Purchases can be approved or denied by opaque algorithms that judge your behavior, beliefs, or associations. Wallets can be frozen without warning, recourse, or transparency. Transfers can be reversed, not by you, but by the authorities who now hold ultimate authority over your digital holdings. Spending patterns are monitored, categorized, and scored, feeding into social credit-style systems that determine your economic worthiness. Risky individuals, dissenters, skeptics, nonconformists can be quietly cut off from the financial system altogether. Compliance policies, often dictated by unelected technocrats or global institutions, decide who is permitted to participate in the economy and who is not. This is not financial freedom, but a programmable finance, a tightly gated economy where every action is tracked, every deviation flagged, and every citizen's economic life subject to the judgment of unseen gatekeepers. The blockchain may be immutable, but your access to it is not, and in that contradiction lies the trap. The narrative of decentralization is a strategic illusion crafted not to empower, but to onboard. People would never knowingly surrender to a system of programmable control, total asset surveillance, and conditional access. However, wrap that system in the language of freedom, rebellion, and technological liberation, and they'll adopt it eagerly, believing they're escaping the old financial order while walking directly into its successor. Once users are fully integrated and economies are digitized, the facade drops. The same infrastructure that promised autonomy becomes the apparatus of enforcement, silent, seamless, and absolute. Resistance fades because everything is now digital, traceable, and revocable. Convenience becomes compliance, choice becomes consent, and freedom becomes the final decoy, deployed just long enough to get you inside the cage. The illusion of freedom is the perfect bait. It lures people into voluntarily joining the very system that can later restrict, limit, or erase their economic existence with a single algorithmic update or policy shift. Modern cryptocurrency, as shaped by corporate and state-aligned frameworks, is not a path out of financial servitude. It is the next evolution of bondage, rebranded as liberation, wrapped in blockchain jargon, and sold as rebellion. Beneath the rhetoric of decentralization, it is quietly building the infrastructure for total economic oversight, a world where every transaction is monitored, every purchase is scored, and every individual's financial life is subject to instant revocation by unseen authorities. This is financial feudalism, with better graphics and worse chains. Why do you think so many controlled opposition figures, so-called truth bloggers, financial gurus, and influencers with millions of followers have been relentlessly pushing cryptocurrency for over a decade? Because they aren't guiding you to freedom. They're herding you into the system. Their job isn't to warn you, it's to normalize the transition, to make digital dependence feel like empowerment, and to frame surrender as innovation. Every tweet, every video, every buy the dip mantra is part of a coordinated onboarding process, one that trades your sovereignty for a wallet seed phrase and a false sense of control. The choice now is stark. Either step away from the digital financial matrix entirely, refuse its tokens, reject its rails, and reclaim tangible value, or accept that you will become a controllable node in a system designed to track, rate, and restrict you at will. After all, gold and silver are real money, intrinsic, unforgeable, outside the ledger. Everything else? Just credit. And credit is always a leash. Ask yourself, do you want to own your wealth or merely access it until they decide you no longer deserve to?